Hi, Sag, Sun and Rising. Welcome to your August 2022 Astro Update. It's Raina here, your fellow Sun and Sagittarius. Of course, some of you have Sagittarius as your ascendant. And this is Leo season until August 22nd. Leo is a fellow fire sign, and it is ninth house activated. So that's Sag's house. So that really brings home this idea of all the things that you stand for when the sun is in the ninth house and forming a trine to your sun or rising sign. Because it's like giving you, I don't know if I'd say the permission, but lining things up so that it's easier for you to manifest what you want, but especially in the area of expansion, because the ninth house represents geographical expansion in the form of long-range travel and intellectual expansion through academia, but also types of studies that are philosophical in nature. This is the house of publishing. There's other things that this house represents, but that's where the sun is until the third week in the month. Mercury goes into Virgo, fellow mutable sign, on the 4th of the month, and that will be in the 10th house of career. So people who are Sagittarius may be talking to authority figures more now than they have recently. And because this is the house of career, this could be people who are looking for work and they're talking to the person, the potential employer, which we could also look at 6th house for those kinds of transits. But in the 10th house, they are people who run the show. And if you're talking to them, it means that you might want to join forces. There's also the possibility of speaking as an expert on something. So it could be like a form of public speaking, you could say. But your mind may be on career matters. Really, maybe you're actually working, strategizing, and putting into motion these things in one way or the other. On the 11th, we have two important transits. Venus goes into Leo, into that ninth house, and we have a full moon in the opposite sign of Aquarius, 19 degrees of Aquarius. So if you are between probably about 14 degrees and about 24 degrees of Sag, this could be particularly important for, it'll hit you directly in the form of a sextile. But in any case, Aquarius is to Sag, that third house. So that's very interesting as well, because the third house can be the internet, social media. A full moon here could have you blow up with social media. Maybe, like I said, you have Mercury in the 10th house. You may be thinking about ways to expand your career, and you figure out something that maybe it's a form of a video and it goes viral, or a podcast or something. You may, if you have been preparing something electronic, you may be finishing it up. The full moon could bring it to completion, maybe something technological. And it's important to note that because this is an Aquarius, that it could have something to do with internet-based things, because Aquarius rules the 11th house. Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius, and it can connect to technology. You can find out something through social media about someone, especially a sibling, because the third house can be siblings or a neighbor. I've heard there's this, I don't know if it's called Next Door or something, where it's in your neighborhood. And I tried to sign up for it, but they wanted to know my exact address, and I'm not going to give them my exact address. I just wanted to kind of lurk and see what they were saying about our neighborhood, but no can do. So probably for the best. I don't want to hear if people are saying bad things and all of that. But yeah, you could find out something about a sibling. Venus going into Leo could be, since it's the ninth house, if you are traveling, you may have romance while you're traveling. In general, it can be anybody from a different culture that you get involved with. Somebody who's different from you. And these are both on the same day. On the 20th, Mars goes into Gemini. And so this means that for the first few weeks of the month, Mars is in Taurus. And for Sag, this is the 6th house, which is the house of health and work. So there you go. You're talking or thinking about career matters, but Mars is in that 6th house, which is giving you a lot of energy to accomplish your goals. So that could be very helpful for something that involves work matters, but also health matters. I see Mars as very physical, so some kind of new exercise routine might be in order. It's really weird. It's kind of funny. When I was in 2nd grade, so I must have been about 7 or 8, I remember my teacher saying to me, she came up to me and she said, "How did you know how to spell the word exercise?" And I just shrugged my shoulders. I don't know. I probably had seen it. But I guess when you're in 2nd grade, you're still acquiring a lot of language. And that's might be a more sophisticated word. And I was always a good reader and things like that. And I won spelling bees, at least one that I can remember. But it's so funny because I think recently I was trying to spell exercise and I was like, how come I remembered when I was 8? And now I'm like going, okay, now is it this? So it just goes to show, Yeah, so that's that. And then when Mars goes into Gemini on the 20th of August, this is a very important thing. I'm going to do separate videos on the Gemini, the Mars transit in Gemini and the retrograde, because this seems off the chain. I mean, it's going to stay in Gemini, whether direct or reversed, all the way until the end of March of 2023. So we're talking a good 7 months. So Sag, some of you may have a lawsuit or a legal matter that is going to take a while to, be settled. And so you may be fighting, think of Mars as a fighter. You might be fighting for a little while on this issue before it gets resolved. But this is also the house of committed partnership. And if you're thinking, oh, great, now my partner and I are going to fight for 7 months. It doesn't have to be that. You might be exercising together and getting active. It might be something really positive that you do together. But it's important to note that this is when it all begins. On the 22nd, the sun goes into Virgo, into that 10th house of career. And that makes you more ambitious because the sun is ultimately about you achieving things like that in the world. And you have the right, I don't know if I'd call it temperament, but your head is in the right place in kind of focusing on this right now because of this transit. On the 25th, Mercury goes into Libra. So Mercury goes into that 11th house, and it's really can be about joining a bunch of groups that have some kind of social guarantees. Maybe you want to have as many people in your life as possible, even if they're internet-based, and you just feel like this is, well, in some cases you might feel that it's more real than some of your real life friendships, that you're able to talk about more serious things or what have you. And you're just starting to communicate. It might even be just your friendships that you're communicating more with them. And that's really important for you at this time for some reason. On the 27th, we have a new moon at 4 degrees of Virgo, so that 10th house of career. Of course, this is a general reading, so not everybody has the new moon in their, for this particular career new moon, that they'll have it in this house, because it's at a very early degree. So even if that is true, at some point that person will have a new moon in their 10th house, and they'll need to know, okay, how do I act? For some reason, you may have been neglecting your friendships or the groups that you used to belong to, and you're reaching out, you're getting in touch again. On the 27th, and also, too, the 11th house is the house of hopes and wishes. So this can be a great time to really visualize the things that you would like to manifest at some future date. On the 27th, we have a new moon at 4 degrees of Virgo, and this obviously, I know I just realized, I'm repeating myself because I already mentioned that some of the people, they might actually have this in the 9th house. But even in those cases, you still might be thinking about work matters, and because the new moon in Virgo, regardless of what house it falls into, can carry the flavor of the type of service to others that you offer, and you might be kind of thinking about something new, not because you don't like what you do before or did before, but either you don't feel that it's the right time, you don't think that people would be as receptive to it, and it's just, even on your end, you may question whether or not this is something that you're meant to be doing at this moment. And yes, of course, sometimes a person may outgrow what they've done, or they just might get tired of doing it. So there's always that possibility, but it simply can be that you're being called to do something else. And so new opportunities might arise. And if this is fallen, if you have a very early degree midheaven or cusp of 10th house of career, that it might be in your 9th house that this occurs. Most of you, it will happen in your 10th, I'm sure. Well, no, that's not necessarily true. It depends on other factors, I suppose. I don't know. But anyway, the point is that for those who it does fall in the 9th house, you may even feel this sense of like you want to be able to travel and work at the same time, and that might figure into whatever opportunities come your way or that you're trying to make happen. Okay, that's what I have for you, Sagittarius. I hope that this resonated. If you would like a private reading, I'm promoting my double readings because they are a great value, especially if you've been looking for something that is a bit deeper, like longer readings. They're like an hour each of natal chart analysis and then an hour of transits for the upcoming year. Call my deep dive reading. And if you like the tarot, it's a full-length tarot reading and then a chart analysis, or, it could be transits if you specify, called the whole enchilada. You can find out about those readings and my other readings at the link below. Thanks for listening. Take care. Bye.